If you've watched Stranger Things, you know about 11, the Upside Down, and secret government experiments on children. But what if I told you that shows creators didn't just make it all up? What if they drew inspiration from something allegedly real, something darker, more disturbing, and hidden in plain sight on Long Island, New York? Welcome to the Montauk Project, a conspiracy theory so elaborate, so chilling, that it makes Area 51 look like a tourist attraction. Our story begins in 1992, when a man named Preston B. Nichols published a book called The Montauk Project, Experiments in Time. But rumours had been swirling since the mid-1980s about something sinister happening at Camp Hero and the Montauk Air Force Station on the eastern tip of Long Island. Nichols claimed these weren't just rumours. According to him, these military bases were the sites of paranormal research. Mind control, time travel, teleportation, and something even worse: experiments on abducted children. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Nichols said these weren't fantasies or creative fiction. These were from his own time working on the project. He could describe the interior of the bases, the experimental procedures, the technology used, all in vivid detail. And the most disturbing part? He wasn't alone. After his book's release, other people started coming forward with their own stories, their own recovered memories of the Montauk Project. But to understand Montauk, we need to go back even further, to World War II, and one of conspiracy theory's greatest hits, October 28, 1943. According to legend, the US Navy conducted a top-secret experiment in Philadelphia. Their goal? To make the USS Eldridge invisible to enemy radar using electromagnetic fields. What allegedly happened next sounds like science fiction. The ship didn't just disappear from radar, it vanished completely, then reappeared over 200 miles away in Norfolk, Virginia. But success came at a horrifying cost. When the ship rematerialized, crew members were fused into the ship's metal bulkheads. Others had turned inside out. The few who survived were driven insane by what they'd experienced. Now, most historians dismiss the Philadelphia experiment as pure fiction. Ship logs don't match up, the physics are impossible, and crew members who served on the Eldridge called it nonsense. But here's the thing. This old conspiracy theory became the foundation for the Montauk Project story. And in 1984, Hollywood released the Philadelphia Experiment movie, which changed everything. 4 years after that movie came out, a 57-year-old man named Bielek watched it and claimed it triggered something, memories he didn't know he had. Bielek went public in 1990 at a UFO conference with an extraordinary claim. His name wasn't really Bielek, it was Edward Cameron, and his memories had been erased and his identity changed by the CIA's MK-Ultra program. According to Bielek, he and his brother Duncan were aboard the USS Eldridge during that 1943 experiment. And here's where it gets wild. He claimed that Nikola Tesla's technology accidentally created a wormhole that transported them forward in time to August 12, 1983, arriving at Camp Hero. That's where they supposedly joined the Montauk Project. Bielek claimed he met Preston Nichols in the 1970s, and together they invented something called the Montauk Chair, a device that would become central to the entire conspiracy. Two separate witnesses describing the same piece of equipment. That's where this theory starts to hook people. So, what exactly was the Montauk Chair? According to Nichols, it was a device that amplified psychic abilities. Whoever sat in it could develop extraordinary powers. Bielek's brother, Duncan Cameron, allegedly sat in this chair multiple times and gained the ability to manifest objects with his mind and to open portals through space and time. Sound familiar? If you've seen Stranger Things, you've seen 11 use a sensory deprivation tank to access other dimensions. The show's creators have admitted the Montauk Project inspired their story. But the experiments didn't stop there. Nichols described something called the seeing eye, an ability Duncan developed where he could hold someone's hair or personal object and see through their eyes, hear through their ears, feel what they felt anywhere on the planet. Remote viewing, astral projection, dimensional travel, and according to the conspiracy, all of this was funded by Nazi gold recovered after World War II. But here's where the Montauk Project stops being an interesting sci-fi story and becomes genuinely disturbing. Nichols' book describes something he called the Montauk Boys, children as young as 4 years old who were allegedly abducted for experimentation. Some were taken off the streets, others from their homes. The targets? Orphans, runaways, children of drug addicts, kids no one would come looking for. In 2017, a man named Stuart Swerdlow came forward claiming to be one of these Montauk Boys. His testimony is harrowing. He described extreme psychological torture, drastic temperature changes, starvation followed by overfeeding, beatings, near drownings. The alleged goal was to fracture the children's minds so they could be programmed. Swerdlow claimed researchers used LSD to alter the children's mental states and that sexual abuse was used to break them down further. He even described being sent through portals to Mars and other locations, with some children lost forever due to incorrect coordinates. Now we need to be clear. There is verified evidence that any of this happened. No missing children linked to Camp Hero, no physical evidence, no corroboration beyond the testimonies of people claiming recovered memories. But it's worth noting that the US government conduct real, documented mind control experiments through MKUltra. They research remote viewing through Project Stargate. These programs were once denied, then later declassified. So the question remains, where does conspiracy theory end and suppressed history begin? According to Nichols, the Montauk Project ended in the early 1980s when things spiraled out of control. In a scene that would later appear in Stranger Things almost note for note, Duncan Cameron allegedly used the Montauk chair to manifest a monster that destroyed the facility. The beast vanished only after the equipment was destroyed. Nichols claimed that Camp Hero was then flooded with cement to shut it down permanently, and everyone involved had their memories suppressed through MKUltra techniques. The US military has categorically denied everything about the Montauk Project. Camp Hero was decommissioned in 1981 and is now a state park you can visit today. There's no cement flooding, no evidence of exotic technology, no paper trail. So what do we make of the Montauk Project? A elaborate fiction inspired by earlier conspiracy theories? A collaborative fantasy between Preston Nichols and Bielek? Or a genuine classified program so deeply buried that only fragmented memories survive? The truth is, we may never know. But the Montauk Project remains a fascinating case study in how conspiracy theories develop, how trauma and memory intersect, and how fiction and reality can blur until they're almost indistinguishable. One thing's certain, whether the Montauk Project was real or not, its influence is undeniable. It inspired one of the biggest shows of the decade and continues to captivate anyone who hears its story.